Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this episode is entitled Fearless at Any Age. I like that. And so we're going to talk about the three keys for turning the life you desire into your reality. And our expert guest today, her name is Patricia Stepler. She's the founder of creating top producers. So she helps entrepreneurs and business leaders, and I think probably most anybody who we all need this, how to master their mindset so they can turn the life they desire into their reality. So Patricia Stepler, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Rico.
Yes, my pleasure. So this is such an important topic because everything starts up here in our mindset, right?
Absolutely.
That's just
Mhm.
so important. So how about we start just real briefly? Just tell us a little bit how you I know you got a lot of experience in all types of business and personal development, but when did you decide that really mindset was the main thing that people really need, and how you began to focus on that?
Well, I did personal development pretty much my entire adult life. And yet it was when my son, actually, when he was 12, he got a full college scholarship, which should not have happened. And he wanted to be a collegiate athlete. And that whole experience just made me go, wait, how did he do this? Because even though I had all this personal development, I'm like, I've never done anything that amazing in my own life. So I had to figure out how he did it. And that led me to Bob Proctor, where he focused on the power of the mind. And he taught me things that I'd never heard before and all that personal development and just a different way of looking at it and different way of understanding how our mind actually functions and how we
Mhm.
we can control our own life by just shifting how we're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just have to ask, so how do you think your son knew that? I mean, obviously your son just had that mindset that I'm going to
Yes.
do it no matter what, right?
Well, that's kind of funny because when he got the scholarship, that's when I had to figure out how he did it.
Mhm.
And so then I spent the next few years trying to explain to him what he had done because he had no idea. But I remember one time he said to me, he said, well, I told you I was going to get a scholarship, so I figured I better figure out how to do it. And
That's
that's
pretty good.
key. You have
Yeah,
to you have to make a decision first,
yeah.
and then you have to start putting a plan together and how are you going to do it. And so that's really key in creating the life that you want. And like I said, nothing ever goes the way you expect it to go. You can make the best laid plans and they just don't work because we don't know everything. We don't know everything that the universe knows.
Yes, but so you got to be adaptable, flexible. You got to
Mhm.
be aware of things and be open to change and keep learning. So,
Absolutely.
so talk about. I mean, this is a big challenge for everybody, not only in business or whatever you want to be successful in. It's always a big challenge uh, to create a mindset that's going to help you to be successful. So, I talk about why do you think that we have such a problem with having the right mindset?
Oh, yeah. That's because our minds have been programmed. They've
Mhm.
been programmed genetically. They've been programmed through all our experiences. In fact, you know what? By the time we're about 7 or 8, we've just gotten all these messages into our mind and they just go right into our subconscious
Mhm.
because at that age, we don't have the ability to block out anything.
Mhm.
And so it isn't until you're about 8 that you have that opportunity to really start to think. And then some people just don't bother to think much and they just continue to allow thoughts to come into their mind and then it molds us into who we are. But by age 8, our self-image is pretty much set unless we intentionally decide to change it.
Yeah, I think that's a message for parents too, that we really got
Absolutely.
to reprogram or program our children that they can, how they should think about what the possibilities are in their life. I think another point, isn't it true that uh, originally, I think it's our amygdala, part of our amygdala brain is tuned in to be aware of what's going on. Could in those days you just be walking out and you could be a tiger could jump on you or something, right? So,
Mhm.
so that's why I think we always go so much into when something happens, we immediately start being fearful of it or concerned about what could happen when it's not even something that's probably going to happen. So, but we haven't we haven't been. I guess we haven't evolved far enough to get rid of that thing. Because so every little thing gets us all upset and puts us out of a positive mindset, right?
Right. And we have to realize that some of that subconscious is protecting us.
It's
It is
yeah,
protecting, and that's the intention. But we also have to, start to think about what it is that we want. But you're right, that fear can get and in the worry and the doubt. And then we focus on that instead of focusing on what we really want.
exactly. Yeah, that's a key. We got to keep your attention on what you want, not what you don't want.
Mhm.
So talk about some of the posters, and we're going to talk about these three main steps that you have people go through to begin to really reprogram themselves and have the mindset that's going to help them to create the life they desire.
Well, first of all, I want them to be aware of their thoughts,
Hmm.
the things that come to their mind and start to really realize, does that make sense? Or is that what I've been programmed? Is that what, my mom thought or, my grandmother thought? And really start to focus on that. And then I think the other thing we really need to look at is a goal that excites us.
Hmm.
You have to have something in your life that you're looking forward to. And I think that happens a lot as people get older. They think, what else is there? And they just kind of don't really go after another goal because maybe they're done working or things like that. And I think we always have to have something we're looking forward to in our life. And then it's that focus, keeping focused on it and what behaviors or actions maybe we have to change in order to accomplish it.
Isn't it about purpose? Really, always having some
Mhm.
purpose in our life. Our purposes can change as we go through life.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
that's isn't that the key? Because just like what I teach, as far as health and wellness, and is what I realize why so many people don't take better care of their health is because they're not living their life purposely, and so if you're not really excited about your life and you have a purpose and that which makes you excited about your life, right? Then
Mhm.
why you don't have any really motivation to take better care of your health. So talk a little bit about how people can discover and really live their life more purposely.
Well, I agree with what you're saying there because, for as I was raising my children, my purpose was to be a really good mom and to raise three children that were productive in society. And then, as my third child, which was my son that got the scholarship, as he went to college, I'm like, okay, now what? What's my purpose now? And that's when I really started to get into, having my own business and helping other people to realize they have more potential inside of them. So I really do think that we have to make that shift in our own thinking and live with purpose and figure out, sometimes you might have to sit down for a day or a week or, a month to figure out, what do I really want to do? Where is that excitement? What can I get behind? And, there's so much opportunity out there in the world today.
Mhm.
And there's so many things that we can be doing. But why not find something that really kind of lights us on fire, makes us excited to get up in the morning?
Yeah, that's a good message. Well, I know you have a great gift for our. I was talking about that your book. What's it? Unstoppable.
It's called um, From Stuck to Unstoppable.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
that's the way I felt for a long time. I felt like I was stuck where I was. And how do you become unstoppable? Well, you become unstoppable by setting those goals and figuring out what it is that you want to do and finding that purpose. And so that's a free gift I'm offering to you today, is to get that guide that will just kind of map out this whole plan for you as to how to really shift your life and become unstoppable.
and again, it really begins with your mindset, right? Just like your son, he just innately said, "Hey, this is what I want, and I'm going to go for it." And I don't know, why do you think more people are not? Well, it takes courage, for one thing, to just go for what you really want. But maybe quite often a lot of people don't really know what they want. So what ideas can you give people to how they can really determine what they really would want their life to be like?
So I think, what stops people from going after what they want is they don't believe they can get it.
Yeah.
And so that belief is there. And, again, going back to like parents or grandparents or, be careful what you say to your child because even though I never believed my son would get a scholarship, he never knew that until after he'd already gotten it. And I told him, years later that I never thought he would, but he never knew that. And
Mhm.
so we have to be really careful that we don't limit what we think we can do or what we think somebody else can do. And instead of focusing on those limitations, think about what you want,
Mhm.
and keep that focus on, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get it. You don't need to know how. You just need to know what you want.
Yeah.
And the how will start to appear in front of you.
Well, tell our audience. I know you have a coaching program. Tell how they can get a hold of you and a little bit about how you can help them.
Yes, the easiest way is to book an appointment with me, and that should be in the show link also. And we'll book a clarity call so that we can see like where you are, where you want to go, and try to get that map and that plan laid out for you. And if it seems like we're a good fit, great, we'll do a coaching together.
Good. Yeah, we'll give you all that information. So we only have about a minute left to go. So just give our audience maybe one or two quick steps. What should they do right now? They've been listening to this, and hopefully we got them inspired. So, what would you recommend that they begin to do right now? Something they can do right now that'll get them on the right path.
Well, first of all, I would, every time you have a thought that's a little negative, change
Mhm.
it around
Yeah,
and think about how you can shift that to a positive. But one thing I think would be so helpful is every day, just take 5 minutes and just sit someplace quietly and focus on what you want and let that picture evolve. And even if you can't think of anything for the first maybe 10 days, just take that 5 minutes and just concentrate on what it is you want. And then I would start writing it down.
yeah,
So you have a
journaling. Yeah.
story. Hmm.
That's so good, and just okay. We're almost out of time, but just say, talk about just mention how soon they can expect some results if they do that. If they just start doing what you just said, how soon do you think they're going to get some results?
When you become aware of your thoughts, you'll start to get that right away because you'll say, "Why am I thinking that?" And so that's an immediate thing. And with the thought, I would say 10 days, you'll start to see that picture evolve, and you'll start to get excited about what the possibilities are.
Very good. Well, Patricia, thanks so much for being here. You have a great message, and I really appreciate what you're offering to our audience. So thanks very much for being here, and thanks to our audience for being here as well.
Thank you, Rico.